Okay, so let's talk about the assignments. Um, First thing I want to do is this week's assignment, and really what I want you to do is to build something cool with Snap, of course. That's it. And yes, I know it's open-ended, okay? What I really want you to do is just play with Snap. You cannot mess this up, okay? Um, Now, just kind of as a, I guess, a mini rubric, here are some things that I would like for you to include. Some kind of a function or a procedure that you write and actually use somewhere. So an example of that with the square function that or block that we built in the previous slide. Okay, so yeah, you build a block and then just use it someplace to show that you can do that. I'd like to see an if statement somewhere, and I'll give you an example of that in a second. I'd like to see a loop somewhere. That would be nice. Okay, yeah, put that. And also some variable that keeps track of something. Okay, again, I'll show you that in just a few moments. Now, my message to you is you simply cannot get this assignment wrong. All I want you to do is I want you to play with Snap so that when your students play with Snap and they come to you and they say, oh my God, I don't know what this block does, you can help them. Okay, so that's the goal of this week's assignment. Now, next week, we're going to do something a little more ambitious. We're actually going to build a game, and we're going to build a game that has a lot of STEM and visualization activities. So, for example, we'll do collision detection. Am I close enough to that asteroid? Am I close enough to the spaceship? Or things like that that will actually involve interesting mathematics, geometry, and computation. But we'll do that later. This week, we're just going to build something cool. Now, to make this a little bit more concrete, I'm going to show you something that I could do. It's actually not going to have a function or a procedure because I'm just going to show you how I can play with this. That will be a good start for your assignment. So watch me in the next video. Okay, so here we have Snap again. I just brought it up one more time. And I simply want to show you the kinds of things that I'm looking for, okay? And I really want to emphasize that all I want to do is I want you to play with this. So first thing that I always like to do is to bring this block here when the green flag is clicked. That just gives me a way of getting my program started by clicking on the green flag. Right now, it's not doing anything, okay? Now, I'm here in Cocoa Beach. I've been visiting NASA. I got rockets in my head, okay? And, that's just what I'm looking at right now. So, what better way to celebrate than to actually make this pretend to be a rocket? So, here's my plan. I'm going to have the turtle start at the bottom, looking up, of course, pointing like a rocket, and it is going to go straight ahead all the way to the top until it hits the ceiling, and at that point it will stop. Okay, so that's my game. It's not very ambitious, but it shows a lot of the aspects that I'm doing. Now, one of the things that I want to take care of is this: the rocket, of course, is being driven by the exhaust, and that is generating a constant force. And what that means is that it's moving at some sort of a constant acceleration. Okay, so the velocity should be increasing at every step, and of course, if I know the velocity, then I know how much higher it should be. So I need to know the velocity. That's a variable. Okay, so let's go to the variable section. I'll need to make a variable which is velocity, and I can set it for all sprites, but actually I want it for this sprite only because this is the one that has that particular velocity. Okay, so we'll set it. Okay, it shows me here what the current value is. I can stop that by just unclicking right here. Click, it shows. Unclick, it disappears. Okay, I don't want it, so we'll just get rid of that. When I click the green flag, now I have something to do. And what I can do is I can set velocity to be 0. That's its initial value, okay? It starts out at 0. The other thing that I want to do is I want my rocket ship to appear at the bottom pointing straight up. How can I do that? Okay, well, let's go over to motion. Let's fix the pointing because that's actually easy. We want to point in direction. Let's see, which direction do we want to go? We want to go up. Oh, that's 0. Okay, So let's see if our program is working so far. Yeah, it's pointing in the right direction. That's progress. Okay, I'm always happy to see a little bit of progress. I actually want it to be down here, so how can I get it there? Couple of ways of doing it. Here's a simple one. I can simply set the Y position to some value. I want it to go down, so I need it to go negative. Let's see how far down. Let's guess that it's 100. That's what I'm talking about. You just simply give it a shot. So let's see. Let's run this. And that looks like I missed it. Maybe it should be minus 120. Maybe it should be minus 150. I don't know. Here's how I'll find out. I'll just drag it down to where I want. Okay, and then I'll say, show me the Y position. The Y position is minus 151. It looks like minus 150 would have been just fine. Okay, so I don't want to see the Y position anymore. I want to run my program. Yeah, looks like minus 150 is good. Okay, so we've set a variable. We have the velocity. Now what we'd like to do is add to the position whatever the current velocity is. So let's see what that is. I want a loop. Okay, so let's go to the control and we'll do repeat. Okay, and let's say repeat. For now, I'm just going to say do this 10 times. I actually should be checking to see when I get to the top. Not going to worry about it yet. Okay, we're simply trying things out. So we'll just repeat 10 times. That sounds reasonable. And what do I want to repeat? Well, I want the velocity to increase by a fixed amount each time. So I can use the change function, change my velocity, okay, by, let's say that it changes by 5. Okay, I made that up. Okay, now what else can I do? I want to change the Y position. Okay, so let's change the Y position, change Y by, I don't want to change by 10, I actually want to change by velocity, okay? And to do that, I go over back to variables, and I'm going to drag velocity into this little oval area. So change Y by velocity. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, it looks good. Yeah, it looks like it's doing the right thing, so I'll take it. Okay. Um, it's a couple of things that may bother you. Well, one thing I notice is that it seems a little jumpy. Okay, so we can fix that. And to do that, instead of changing the velocity, we can actually glide. Okay, so let's bring the glide element here. We'll get rid of change. Okay, and we'll take 1 second. We want the X position to be, we can just leave that alone. We're actually saying 0. It starts at 0, so that means it's unchanged. That's good. But the Y position should not be 0. We want to change to whatever the current Y is plus the velocity. Okay, that's where we wanted it to end up. So that is an operator. It is a plus operator. So let's grab this guy. We want to change Y by velocity plus the current Y position. That is in motion. Drag Y position over. Okay, so let's see if this looks any better. All right. So maybe changing the velocity by 5 is a little slow, but I think you did see that it was getting faster as it went up. I'm going to change it to 10. I mean, the rockets should go fast. So it starts low, and yeah, now it's more dramatic as it picks up speed. Great. Oh, but you notice what happened. We actually left the region of interest. Okay, not to worry. Let's change this repeat. We don't really want to go 10 times. What we want to do is go a fixed number of times, okay? I'm going to get rid of this change since we're not using it. Okay, so let's go back to our control. We don't want to go a fixed number of times, I'm sorry. What we want to do is we want to keep doing this until, say, we reach the top. So that is a repeat until. Okay, we want to do this until some condition happens. By the way, you'll notice that this is an oval and this has actually pointy corners. This means condition. The pointy corners mean condition. The ovals mean numbers. Okay, that's part of the way that this keeps you from doing something that's wrong. Okay, all right. So how can we do the condition? Well, one thing we can do is just say repeat until the y position is too big. So let's bring this over. Okay, and now we can do a comparison. And our comparison should take the current y position, so that is set in the motion, and repeat until it is larger than, it was minus 150 at the bottom, so I'm going to guess that it's 150 at the top. And what I'll do is the same thing that was in there before. We'll just change the velocity by 10, glide. So let's get rid of this repeat 10 times, and let's try it again. Okay, our rocket starts slow, it starts picking up speed, it goes, and then, very nice. You know what? 150 may have been a little too much. Okay. Okay. Now let's do some other possibilities. Uh, Sensing is kind of nice because sensing allows me to check for conditions, and one of the conditions is touching. So I touching the edge, right? That sounds promising. Maybe we can do that instead of the y position being greater than 150. Let's try that. Here he goes. Oops, stop that. Touching the edge. Forgot to say what I was touching. Okay, let's try this again. It takes off. That's a good sign. By the way, depending on where I started, I can get into trouble because I am touching the edge. It actually stopped there. That's good. I still can't see it. Okay. Yeah, maybe I should say just position is greater than 140. Okay. It's just beyond the edge, so you can't see it, but technically the Y position is already too big. You know what? We are experimenting. That's all there is. Okay. So we're playing with this until it does something that we want. Oops. Let's change this to 130. Oh, I'm changing the velocity too slowly. So why is it that it's not stopping at 130? Okay, here's where computational thinking comes in. My problem is that I'm thinking that, I'm incrementing by 10 each time, so 110, 120, 130, but actually the velocity goes up. It's 10, then it's 20, then it's 30, then it's, and so on. So in this particular case, that's not really helpful. I can't tell exactly when it would stop because it might go, say, from 190 to 150 in a single step. That's why this condition is failing. Okay, I could check something like if the y position plus the velocity is greater than 150, then do something. Okay, and I can make it smoother. That's part of the beauty of computational thinking. Okay, so I can actually make it do more like what I want. But I want to show you a hack. Okay, and the reason is because I wanted to show you what an if statement does. So let me bring this here. Once it finishes, I'm going to check whether my y position is too big. So I'll take this and duplicate the condition. Okay, and I can drop it right here. If my y position is greater than, and actually I'm going to set it to 140, which is really what I want. If my y position is greater than 140, then I actually want to reset it. Okay, so I will duplicate this one and I'll put it there. Okay, and instead of going to that position, I'm actually going to hard code that at 140. All right, let's see what happens when I run this. I really should change the speed to like 20, huh? All right, it's going fast. My rocket's going fast. It goes beyond the edge, and then boom, it drops back. That's actually kind of a cool effect. And I'm going to use that because I'm actually going to have it say something, okay? So I'll drag this one over, and that just says think for 2 seconds. That's enough for the rocket to have a little thinking bubble. And we'll say, ouch, who put a ceiling in space? Okay, I think we have our app. It picks up speed, okay? It's nice and smooth, that's because of the glide. It overshoots, then it bounces back, and it goes, ouch, who put a ceiling in space? That's something cool, okay? That's the kind of thing that I want you to build, except perhaps I would ask you, like I said, show me that you can do a function, show me that you can call a function, and I would just be creating a block. Perhaps your block can figure out what the next velocity is instead of this one. Of course, you don't have to do a rocket. You can do anything that you think is super cool. All of my examples have to do with space because that's what I think is super cool. All right, I'm looking forward to seeing your projects. I'll see you all next Tuesday when you'll be building this. Bye bye.